Saram, Vetin Shud, and you, Deerfield, welcome. Welcome to the United States. Welcome to Deerfield. We are so excited to have you here today. So excited to have such distinguished guests, excellencies. It's really a thrill to be able to invite and to have so many people here for a theme that is absolutely very close to my heart. My primary mission here as the United States Ambassador to Ireland is to do everything that I can in order to make sure that the bonds of economic ties, the bonds of friendship, the bonds of business be strengthened and passed on to future generations. My goal here is to highlight the creative minds, both in the United States and in Ireland, and to work through creative minds to nurture this wonderful relationship. My goal is to highlight the importance of creativity and culture in the U.S.-Irish relationship and to make sure that we don't lose any of that bond as we go into the next generations of Irish and Americans. Since we launched this program earlier this year, I've had the privilege of hosting Creative Minds speakers like David Chase, who was the creator of the wildly popular TV show The Sopranos. We've had a chance to have a singer-songwriter, American singer-songwriter Ben Folds come here to Ireland. We've had the leadership of the Moth Storytelling Collective here a few weeks ago, and we've had Grammy Award-winning composer Christopher Tin, who writes music for video games, which are wildly popular with the next generation. Those are just a few of the people that we've had here at Deerfield, both performing and conducting master classes across the country in order to attract Irish creative minds to their creative minds. I look forward in my time in Ireland to develop this program. It is my chief priority, and to highlight the work of innovators in many areas, from the founders of tech companies to country singers to poets to food entrepreneurs, celebrating the impact of creativity among the young Irish and the young Americans. The more that I meet these fascinating creators, the more I understand that creativity is not the province of only the arts and culture, but that arts and culture are part of the soil of innovation. And connections that are made through music or film or visual arts create bonds of trust and bonds of familiarity. When I hosted these events here at Deerfield, we were hoping to, for example, this year we sent off this year's slate of Enterprise Ireland-sponsored Irish bands and tech companies to attend the famous South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas. It became clear to me, again, that business is tied to the creative arts. We had a room full of fresh, young musicians like Walking on Cars that actually put on a wonderful performance here at Deerfield. And these Irish musicians really paved the way in Austin for the tech companies, which were also in Austin. And perhaps vice versa, that the tech companies paved the way for the musicians in Austin. I see a clear nexus between United States and Irish cultural connections and the burst of activity and innovation in the economic relationship between our two wonderful countries. The innate creativity of the Irish, wedded with the nimbleness and the scale of the U.S. market, is a very, very powerful connection. Today I would like to do everything possible at this conference to highlight the importance of what I see as the beginnings of a renaissance of creativity and innovation between our two countries, which encompasses the arts and culture, but also technology, music, science, food, research, film, all spiked with a very strong dose of entrepreneurial energy. That is why we have focused today's U.S. Embassy Economic Conference on the topic of creativity and a broad definition of creativity and the creative economy. I'm thrilled that we have such a very impressive array of speakers here today, and that is what is so great about being in Ireland. Today we'll hear from the CEO of Intel. We'll hear from the creator of Riverdance. We'll hear from a film producer representing the Creative Futures organization. We'll hear from the head of the Smithsonian Center for Invention, and many, many others. The ability to bring people like this together from different disciplines in one place creates sparks. And this kind of creativity and these kinds of sparks in a place like Ireland has already had an enormous economic impact. The goal of my Creative Minds series is to ensure that the special nature of our creative connections, based on history, based on heritage, based on familial ties, which I happen to believe is the secret ingredient of our very successful relationship, continues into the next generation. We want to keep this unique generation as close as it is now, even as both of our countries become much more diverse and much more globally focused. I was greatly honored to welcome President Higgins here to the official launch of our Creative Minds series a few months ago, and I admire the work that he has done to put the conversation about the value of creativity front and center here in Ireland and to link it to innovation, and we are happy to join that conversation. With over $200 billion in U.S. investment in Ireland and more than 700 American companies resident here, including the entire top tier of U.S. tech companies, with the mutual policy priorities on the table that range from approaches to data privacy, to cyber defense, to challenges of energy security and sustainable agriculture. We have important business to do among us. After all, Ireland is a key part of America's strategic partnership with the European Union, which is more necessary now than ever to find solutions to the many challenges that we face. Creativity, innovation, and invention are the raw materials of the economy that we look to build together, in the transatlantic community. Today at this conference, within the U.S.-Irish relationship, I believe that we have a rare opportunity to see the connections between two worlds, of art and science, of creativity and business, of design and function, blend. Then the contributions of our two very unique culture and the affinity between them can be put into a proper context, and we can continue to celebrate the creative minds that build your country and build mine. So thank you all very much for coming today. I'm really looking forward to the discussions that we'll have. I want to thank, first of all, our Creative Minds sponsors. Indeed, Aer Lingus, William Fry, you can never have enough lawyers, and our partners today, although that may be debatable. Okay, I can see that's debatable. And our partners today, Brighter Than the Sun, and of course the American Chamber of Commerce, who takes credit for the wonderful weather. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that. I'd like especially to thank Pat King, the CEO of the Doyle Connection, a very good friend of America. He has been, they're one of our sponsors today, and you can see a bit of the hospitality that they're so famous for here today while you're here. So, Pat, if you would come up and say a few words, we really appreciate your sponsorship today.